Suppose you design a protocol, and now how are you going to measure that this protocol indeed reaches the intended goal? So for this, you make use of metrics. There are many metrics which are custom fit based on what you intend to measure based on the protocol. But these are some of the popular metrics: throughput, latency, energy consumption. So often these metrics are plotted in this fashion. For example, you design a protocol and you're measuring the throughput, and you measure how the throughput of the protocol is varying as you increase the number of nodes, or how is the throughput a function of the energy consumption, or how the delay varies as the number of hops increase between the source and the destination. So let me cover a few of these metrics in a little bit more detail since we are going to use them as part of this course. So throughput is a very popular metric. Its units are megabits per second or kilobits per second. Sometimes it is also expressed in MBps, where this capital B refers to bytes. So in this case, it is megabytes per second or kilobytes per second. Now, if someone says they have a 1 Mbps connection, or this is the throughput they are getting, what they typically mean is they are able to transfer or receive 10 to the power of 6 bits in 1 second. Throughput is also called bandwidth. Bandwidth, by the way, has two meanings. One meaning is this throughput as defined here. Another meaning is related to spectrum, in which case its units are in hertz. So you need to distinguish whether you mean Mbps or hertz based on the context. There is a direct relation between these two, which we'll cover later. Throughput is also at times called data rate. So one thing I need to emphasize here is throughput is measured in different ways. So you have to be very clear on what exactly you want to measure and define throughput appropriately. So let me give an example. So in this example, node A wants to transfer 1 megabyte of data to node B over a network. Let's say the time starts at t is equal to 0 and A puts the first bit on network. B receives the first bit at t is equal to 1 second. Why this delay? I'm going to cover shortly. And B is going to receive the last bit at t is equal to 2 seconds. So one way to measure throughput is, let me call it transfer throughput, is to measure the speed of transfer from node A to node B. So this is given by amount of data that you transferred over the time it took to send the data from A to B fully. In other words, until every bit is received at B. Now, what do you think this number is? Why don't you calculate and let me know? So this turns out, since the amount of data is 10 to the power of 6 into 8 bits over the total time is 2, this turns out to be 4 Mbps. Now I could also measure what is called a receiving throughput, which I am defining as the amount of data over the time it took to receive the file at B, from the time it took to receive the first bit to the last bit. Now what do you think this is? So this turns out to be again 10 to the power of 6 into 8 bits over only 1 second, because this is what we are measuring. So this turns out to be 8 Mbps. So as you can see, the way you define throughput, you can get different numbers. So you have to be quite clear. So another popular metric is latency or delay. Basically, this measures the time it took for a packet or a message to go from source to destination. This is called one-way delay. At times you also use round trip time delay. Basically, in this case, you measure the time it took from source to destination and from destination back to the source. Since this is delay, you're measuring time, its units are either microseconds, milliseconds, or seconds. Often this delay is made up of 4 components: processing, transmission, propagation, and queuing. What are these components? Let's see an example. In this example, we are interested in the delay experienced by a packet to go all the way from A to B. Now, as you can see, this packet is going over many links, is going through many switches, finally before it reaches B. To see what happens to the packet as it passes through these nodes, let's look at what is happening between these two components. Basically here I have redrawn the switches S1 and S2. S2 in turn is connected to switch 3, that's not shown here. Now, if you remember the talk about switches, basically a switch has multiple inputs. Basically, through these links, it takes the packets, and it has multiple outputs. So the packets it receives, it is going to put them out on these links. And each of these outgoing links has a queue. So this is the queue where it is going to place packets that have to go out on that particular link. Now, when node A sends a packet to switch S, so this is the packet that has come to switch S, it is first going to examine the packet. So the delay that is involved in examining the packet is called the processing delay. So this is basically for examining the packet. For example, it will look at the packet header to decide whether it should send on this link or on this link or on this link or on this link. So in this case, it decides that it wants to place it, send it out on this link. Thereby, it is going to place the packet in a queue that corresponds to that link. Now, when the packet is placed in this queue, it is very much conceivable that there are other packets already in the queue, in which case this packet from A has to wait in this queue. And the delay associated with that is called the queuing delay. Basically, this is the delay experienced by a packet waiting in a queue. So after it waits for this much amount of time, it comes to the head of the queue and is ready for transmission. Now, when a packet is at the head of the queue, its transmission begins, and this transmission is not instantaneous. In fact, it takes some time to transmit the packet, and this is called the transmission delay. Basically, this is a function of the packet size and the bandwidth of the link. What do I mean by this? Suppose you have a link, rather this link that we see here has a bandwidth of, let's say, 1 megabit per second, and the packet size that A has sent, let's say, is 1000 bytes. Now, 1 megabit per second link means it takes 10 to the power of 6 bits to be sent in 1 second, which means to send 1000 bytes or 8000 bits, how much time does it take? This is nothing but 8000 over 10 to the power of 6, that is 8 milliseconds. So the transmission time is given by 8 milliseconds in this particular case. Let me show the transmission on a timeline. So this is at node S1, and let me call this time 0, and this is relative time, and it has begun the transmission of the packet. And as I said, this transmission takes some time. This time that it takes, for example, in the previous case is 8 milliseconds, but let me just call it, the time it takes is T. When you put the first bit on the link, it's not that this bit reaches S2 instantaneously. It takes some time for this bit to go all the way to S2. And the delay that is involved there is called the propagation delay. And this is a function of the distance and the speed of light in that cable. Now, the speed of light takes on different values. For example, if it is a fiber cable, the speed of light is about 2 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. And if it is like a regular cable, Ethernet or something else, it may take 2.3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. And if it were vacuum, this is something you probably know, it takes 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Now, if this distance is very long, naturally the propagation delay is also going to be rather high. So let me show the propagation delay on a timeline. So this is S2. Now the first bit, when it leaves node S1, it takes some time for it to reach S2. So this delay is the propagation delay. And then you are going to receive the packet, and this is the transmission delay. So if you see, the moment the packet came to node S1 or the switch S1, there are many delays involved. So first was the processing delay, then you had the it had to be queued up and wait in the queue, and then it had to be transmitted, and then there was a propagation delay before it reached node S2. So between S1 and S2, the overall latency that this packet suffered, this latency just between, so let me emphasize that this is just between S1 and S2, is sum of the processing plus queuing plus transmission and propagation. Now, if you want to know the overall delay it took for a packet to go all the way from A to B, you need to calculate the delay it experienced between A to S1, between S1 and S2, S2, S3, and so on and so forth, and add up all the delays, and that is the delay experienced by a packet to go from A to B. So loss is another metric which is often measured as a probability. For example, if I say 10% loss, this means on average, I wish to emphasize on this average, 1 out of every 10 packets are lost. Now, the causes for losses could be due to limited space at the switches. Remember, we were talking about queues at the switches. So if there is not enough room in the queue, the packet gets dropped. It could also get corrupted due to certain problems with the physical media, that is the links. So one thing to note here is loss is often used as a parameter rather than a metric. What do I mean by parameter? Basically, this is something that is introduced by yourself to measure the performance of a protocol. In other words, you drop packets and then see how the performance of the protocol in terms of either throughput or latency is getting affected. You don't really measure loss, rather you introduce loss. That is why I said it's a parameter, and then measure the performance. But sometimes at the physical layer, for example, you measure losses itself. So it can be used as a metric or as a parameter. So in this video, I mentioned the goal of computer networks. And to reach this goal, there is a lot of work in designing better hardware, designing protocols, and there are many challenges to overcome also to reach this particular goal. We talked about the trade-offs involved, the backward compatibility problems, so on and so forth. And whenever you design a protocol, you need to measure its performance, and this performance is often measured in terms of throughput, latency, loss. There are many other more metrics, but these are some of the popular metrics. Now that we know the goal and the issues involved, we are ready to tackle computer networks.